Okay, so this is another episode of my brother's 88 Mustang. I'm going to spoil a little bit for you. Richard changed his injectors, but I'll let him tell you the rest.
Hey guys, it's Thursday night. I'm out in the garage. It is track day eve. Um, I've been uh, changing injectors tonight, um, and I pulled out some that were they were just black. They weren't Ford. They're just probably AutoZone or Advanced Auto Part replacements. So I got some factory 19s in. I know I said in another issue episode I was going to put injectors in it, and I didn't. Um, it was either put injectors in it or go to the track. So I chose going to the track. So it's got some 19s in it. They're out of my 95 GT. It was the stock injectors I had in it in the 95. Um, Already on startup, it's better. Um, my car always dies the first time I crank it. I crank it up, it'll run and die. Just now, with the new injectors cranked up and it ran, it did not die. It was nice and smooth. That gives me hope. So I'll give you kind of a rundown of what's going on and what I've done. And I'm going to rant just a little bit. But anyways, fingers crossed for improvement. There were two other things I wanted to address. Um, so on my cars, I put two carburetor studs in the lower intake. That makes getting the lower intake on easier and keeps the gasket in place. So that's just a little life hack. You also see some jacked up wire in there. IDK. Another thing that is helpful, thermostats on these cars are just frustrating. Changing the thermostat's not hard, but when you can only get, move my lights, when you can only get, barely a turn at a time, it's just aggravating. So I replaced the thermostat bolts in this car with Allen head, and you can use those with an Allen wrench that has a ball end, and it's so much easier. Another option is to run a 94-95 timing cover, and you don't have to worry about it. But I mean, who's going to do that? So, anyways, those are two little tricks: carburetor stud for your lower intake, and Allen heads for your thermostat housing. I hope that helps. Looky there, I got some fancy looking blue wires on there now. I did that last week, right before my first run. And the reason I did that is because on the passenger side, I had, you could see a light show when it was pitch black. So replaced the wires. It already has a new cap and rotor and new plugs. So that was a missing piece. Still have a stock coil on there, but it works. And my experience with coils is, if they work, they work. When they go bad, you know it. So, okay, for my rant, this car from day one has gone 940 in the 8th. I still had the stock air tube and air box and paper filter in it. It went at 940. Since then, me and Ray and have put some time in. We put a set of headers on it. Got some equal length BBK shorties. Under the valve covers, it's got 1.7 roller rockers. On my 88, that made a difference. It was a tenth in the quarter when I did 1.7s and equal length shorties. No difference, 940. The cone filter, I've got a C&L elbow. I know it's meant to be used with a mass airflow, but it works fine. Plus I like how it's got a boss for my fogger nozzle. So that's why I'm using that. And also, I don't know, just because I didn't want to mess up the factory air tube, so that's why that's on there. But K&N filter, the aluminum elbow, MSD still runs 940. In the back, you know, in the last video, I went from 373s to 456. Still run 940. I may have run a 950 that night. No, I think it was 940. Let's see, I've had the timing bumped from 10 up to 14. Still runs a 940. Now, one thing I did discover last week, it was after my first pass, which I ran just on motor, is that my TPS was at 0.780. So I turned it up. It's at 996 now. So maybe that's part of the problem. I'm hoping the injectors are the other part of the problem. But the car should run better. My 88LX with the same modifications went 9.0s and 890s with 373 gears. So yeah, it's way off. I am hoping that these injectors will give it some go. Let's see, any other updates on the car? Oh yes, let's go over here. Try not to fall. I'm going to the track, and I won't be blind this time. Let's see. I ordered this little purple thing from Summit. It just, you know, screws in line and lets you put a gauge on there so you can check your bottle pressure. Bottle pressure and bottle temperature are important. That's an understatement, but I'm learning the hard way. So it's got a full bottle. Had it filled up yesterday. I only had 3 pounds in it, so the pass I made on spray, where I went 851, it was around 3, maybe 4 pounds on that pass, and I have no idea what the bottle pressure was. So we're gonna have a good full bottle, new injectors, and TPS hooked up. I really want 790 tomorrow. Fingers crossed on that. Let's see. I think that's it for now. Hey guys, tonight is track night. Car's loaded up. Made a couple changes. Denzel just came by and dropped off some slicks, so I'll be running ET drags tonight. Let's see. And just recap, it's got different injectors. The TPS is set correctly. And what's the other thing? TPS, slicks, and I got a full bottle, tip top. So tonight's the night. I think we're gonna hit a high 7. That's my hope. I'm going solo, kinda. I know some people up there, but typically not people I'd ask to film for me. Hopefully we'll get a slip, not slip. You know, hopefully get a good slip tonight, but hopefully get somebody to film it. And oh, also, and you know, tonight's gonna be, this will be my second time on 456s. I get weirded out by selfie mode. I don't know. It's like, I guess when I talk to myself, I don't see myself, and now I'm talking to myself and I'm seeing myself. Anyways, so whatever. Anyways, fired up. We're gonna run up the road. It's about an hour from here. I'm gonna stop and get a big old bag of ice, and the weather's a lot nicer too. So it's a good day. Just finished up a huge project at work and delivered it today. So life is good. Hopefully get some footage at the track. Well, hey guys, back from the track. Give y'all a report on what happened. The injectors really helped. The car picked up 0.2 of a second on motor. That was at 14 degrees of timing. A friend of mine suggested running more than 14. He's pushing up towards 18. So my next trip, I'm gonna bump the time a little more, see if we can get another 1/10 out of it. Maybe get from a 920 down to a 910 or a 90. It should be able to run that. Another friend suggested not doing, the sun's really bright, not doing so much of a burnout and just clean the tires off and allow for just a tiny bit of slip off the line, so it'll slip up into its power band. So that's another thing I can try as far as, you know, running on motor and trying to pick it up. But the car did good as far as motor goes. On nitrous, there was no difference. Um, my previous best is an 821, and it went 822. So yeah, at least it's consistent. And a quarter mile that comes out to like a 1280 something. So that's still really respectable. I was shooting for 799. I really thought it had it in it, and I haven't given up. Um, so I still haven't put the timing chain in, so I plan on doing that soon, and maybe that'll give it a little more low end grunt. It should get better than a 211 60 foot with 456 gears. But maybe with the timing chain, I'll have a little more low end, be able to get out of the hole better. That's what I hope. What other plans? You know, in the previous video, I mentioned I had some GT40 heads and an Explorer intake, and I was looking at some dyno comparisons, and stock intake and a GT40 intake, they run neck and neck up to like 3,600 RPM. Then at like 37 or so, the GT40 starts to pull away. And except for my first 60 feet, I'm above 3,700 RPM all the way down the track. So it would really be in my best interest to put the heads and intake on. I know when I put the 456s in, my dad just kind of shook his head. He said, "You ain't got the motor for 456s." And yeah, I think he's right. But I was still hoping that I could get a 799 out of stock intake and heads and throttle body. So it's still a hope. It's still aspiration. Another theory I have is that I'm losing power through the transmission. So what I get is what I get. Maybe this is all the AOD can transmit. Maybe it's, as far as its age and condition, maybe an 820 is its limit as far as the power it can hold and transmit. So we'll go to the time slips and give y'all a rundown. Time slip number 1, first pass of the night. This is with timing advanced, ice on the intake, and the new injectors went 920. That is the first improvement on motor it's made as far as elapsed time goes. The mile per hour has picked up with the other modifications, but it has never done any better than a 940. So injectors for the win. Also, the mile per hour is up with the new-ish injectors. Next pass, also on motor, 923. This pass, I used the e-brake to try to stall a little bit higher, and my 60 foot time is, exactly the same. So hopefully time the chain give me a little more grunt, and I can get maybe down in the 2.0s. It really should be able to do that. But next pass, first spray pass, new best on the 60 foot, 822 at 85. My previous best is 821 at 87. So this is with slicks. So I'm guessing the drop in mile per hour could be because I'm running slicks instead of radials. With drag radials, there's less rolling resistance, so you typically get a higher mile per hour. I was racing a guy in a coupe, early 4-eyed coupe. A very simple combo, but he ran really well. He came around and raced him again, and he didn't 60 as well, and neither did I. But anyways, he beat me 2 for 2. But good times, man. It was fun. And then the last pass of the night is right here. By this point, they were about to shut down the track, and I wanted to make one more pass, so it didn't cool down as much as I'd hoped it would. But anyway, I still got to make another pass, and the guys at the track are just really nice folks. So I appreciate them letting me get one more before shutdown. Time for a little more math. So up top you see AOD first gear 240 times 456, that's rear end gears, equals 10.99944, excuse me. That's your first gear ratio. Come down here, T5, 335 first gear with 327 gears. Now that's stock gears for a 4.6. Stock gears for some AOD cars. Anyways, come over here. First gear ratio equals 10.9545. Guys, that hurts my feelings. So a 5-speed with 327s has the same first gear ratio as my AOD with 456s. Yeah, so there's that. Stay tuned. So Friday night at the track, I had every intention on hitting the 7s. I mean, I really believed tonight's the night. Full bottle, good injectors, car's running better. It's gonna happen. So I was really tickled that on motor it picked up. That was awesome. But on the spray, nothing different. I mean, it really had me scratching my head. So I was asking guys down there, I said, what's the deal? I mean, why isn't it running any better? And just about everybody I've talked to said, you've got to put a converter in that car. And they're absolutely right. They're 100% right. The car needs a converter. But I cannot make myself buy a converter. Another guy recommended a C4. And that's also an excellent option. But I'm not going to put a C4 in it. I got other plans. So I'm going to show them to you. This, my friends, is what the future holds for the 88. There are 2 pedals, plus the gas pedal equals 3. So it's going to be rocking 3 pedals, hopefully in the near future. So that's what it holds. Also, I'm going to put 373s in it. Just kidding. I'm not putting 373s in it. I said that, gear swaps is not my favorite thing. It's so stinky. And you throw friction modifier in the mix and it gets worse. But this right here, oh my gosh. I have changed so many sets of pedals in these cars over the years. And every time I do it, I say it's my last time. I'm never doing that again. So here we go. Never say never. Am I right? So there's the pedals. I've got some other pieces, stashed away, and I need to find a few more other ones. I got this right here down here. It's a 97 V6 T5. I got that from Ray. Another video I mentioned that he's a nationwide junkyard dog. That one came from Utah. It's pretty funny. So that's from Utah. The throttle body he got me is from I think Idaho. So the car is going to be a 5-speed. I like driving them. I like racing them. And I can't make myself buy a converter. So hey, I'll pick the stall speed. So more to come on that.
Man, that is awesome. Richard is putting in some serious work on this car. He's making a lot of progress in some areas. The injectors, picking up 2/10. That's wonderful. Other things are leaving us and everyone else scratching our heads, wondering why nitrous isn't making much more of a difference. He might be onto something with the AOD only being able to transmit so much power to the wheels. He would know better than I would, honestly, on that. I'm really excited that he's going with the 5-speed on that. Also, the life hacks were really good. Alignment studs, I use them on anything I can. I like to eliminate all risk, especially when there's RTV or coolant or oil or something like that involved. I just like everything to line up perfectly first try. Alignment studs were a good tip. The Allen heads for the thermostat housing, that's really good to know. Let's see, the transmission, funny little tangent about that. So I was going to go on a business trip, so I always like to check the pick and pull websites and the JY websites. and I saw a picture of, I don't know what year Mustang. It was a 87 to 93, and it had a GT40 tubular upper intake, and I was like, that is awesome. I'm getting it. So I packed my bags with just enough tools to pull an upper and lower intake. Of course, I show up, and that engine has been stripped. So I'm just walking around, and I think Richard was right. I think it was a 97 Mustang, but it was a V6 with a T5. And I just so happened to have enough tools to pull it, and it was like sketchy the whole time. You know, like it seemed like the bolts were going to break, or the sockets weren't grabbing enough because I had 6-point sockets instead of the hex sockets. Get the transmission out. Richard never answers his phone, so I don't even know if he's going to buy it. So I'm like, whatever, I'm going to get it. So Richard was psyched to have it, so that's how he ended up with it, without me even asking if he wanted it. But really excited to see that happen. The math lesson, that is crazy. I did not know that a 327 rear end with a stock 5-speed is essentially the same as an AOD with 456s. So it's going to be a huge jump once he puts that T5 in. It's going to be awesome. And he'll have to figure out how he's going to work the nitrous, because there's no way he can do the switch and shift. I don't know. But he'll figure it out. Can't wait to see it. And until next time.